Hello everyone, Ace here, and today I have some bad news with regards to the pricing for the Steam Decks, due in part to the components shortage that has been impacting the video game industry for years now, to be honest, and has only gotten worse as time has gotten on, which has for months caused a lack of stock of things like the Steam Deck, meaning that people couldn't buy it for a while. Well, the Steam Deck is back, and it is available, but now the prices range from $789 to $949, depending on which version of the Steam Deck OLED you would like to buy. Oh wait, even with this price increase, they're out of stock again. Yeah, this occurred within 12 minutes of me recording for this video. We went from still having Steam Decks able to be bought to people buying them up before they can be produced and supplied, despite the price increase. Which leads me to another stark realization. The fact that the Steam Deck is still price competitive in comparison to consoles, despite the now dated hardware behind the Steam Deck. Yes, the same can be said for consoles too. However, what I didn't expect upon seeing the price increase for consoles was just how close they got to even the high-end version of the Steam Deck. Maybe I've been living under a rock, but the fact that you can find PS5 Pros selling for $900, and no, this is not a bundle, this is in fact the console itself selling for $900 in certain situations. Yeah, that's starting to make the Steam Deck appear somewhat competitive as far as its price is concerned, even if it's still ridiculous. And the Xbox Series X is even worse, with some versions of the Series X on Best Buy being more expensive than the high-end version of the Steam Deck. This does also, however, lead into concerns about how the Steam Machine and the Steam Frame are going to be priced by comparison. Naturally, the Steam Deck itself went up, and so we should expect the same in terms of price for those two options. Which really sucks if you're me and you were strongly considering getting a Steam Frame this year, and likely also a Steam controller to go with it. The prices are obviously going to go up. However, if the price increase for the consoles is anything to go by, and the comparatively tame price increase, ridiculous though it still is, for the Steam Deck, to the point that the high-end version of the Steam Deck is actually cheaper than some of the high-end versions of popular home consoles, a fact that I was not expecting. Basically, it looks like the situation is actually going to be worse for consoles than it is for Valve. But the people who really lost in this overall situation, though, are, let's face it, the gamers themselves. This is pretty much atrocious news, no matter how you look at it. And of course, this is going to be the sort of situation in which it takes years for these prices to actually become reasonable again. Assuming they ever actually become reasonable again. It's possible. We've had both consoles and games in the past have significant price increases before also getting stabilized. And the shortages are, let's face it, due to factors outside of the industry itself, and they will get fixed eventually, but it would still take years for that potential possibility to come to fruition. And whether the industry actually lowers prices as a result of supply catching up is the big what if at the end of the day here.